Hey, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I'm Mama Michelle. I literally just got out of the shower and got in here because I had some clarity. I had a client reach out to me yesterday in regards to a situation in her business, and I've been brewing on it. I haven't dreamt about it. And then I was watching a few videos this morning, and all of a sudden, it all became very clear about manifesting and about how we're using it wrong, especially as we step into this new paradigm. That's what we're going to break down today. So, hey, I'm excited you're here because this is something that I personally, for years, have struggled with this concept of saying, well, I was waiting for signs and symbols. Signs and symbols has always been like I feel like it's been my narch, my arch nemesis in some ways because I truly believe in signs. But I think what we're starting to learn in this new paradigm, as all the outer planets are going into air and fire signs, is that we are really dictating what signs are coming to us. And that may not be a popular suggestion, but let me break it down for you. I had someone reach out to me yesterday, and she was really at an exacerbated space in her entrepreneurship, her soulpreneur, because things were starting to fall apart, basically, in her eyes. Things were falling apart. Clients weren't paying. She had somebody who had to disembark from her commitment. And just a lot of financial, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs are feeling right now, a lot of financial quote, what I would call woes. And the thing that she said, and this is what I love when people are just being pure of heart when they talk to me, is she was being pure of heart. And she said, so I told the universe, if this particular thing doesn't sell in the next 24 hours, that's the sign I need that I'm going in the right direction. And there was something about that comment that struck me in a way that's like, ooh, that doesn't feel, that in itself doesn't feel like alignment. And I think this is what happens to a lot of us is that when we have a vision or a desire in something and it's not percolating along and we're panicking, especially as a soulpreneur, entrepreneur, creative, because we're used to playing within our signs, in our spidey senses. But I think there's a new level coming of understanding that what you feel about your business is the most important thing because the universe, God Spirit universe, will always support whatever decision you make. So if you're choosing that sign that they're going to get that I'm going to sell this one product and then I know I'm going in the right direction, we get caught up in the concept that there's only one way to get to your vision or your goal. And the universe is saying you can go in any direction you want. I'm going to support you in it. I'm going to give you what you need in that moment. So if you need a sign, I'll give you a sign, right? And I think that's where a lot of businesses have a tendency to kind of get clogged in the ointment, especially if you're either at the beginning of your business, and the beginning of a business is 0 to 5 years, not something a lot of people want to hear. Or you've been in your business and you've hit a level of success, but now you need to readjust what success looks like for you. That's when we always go back to, okay, well, this is working out this way, so I guess this is the way I'm supposed to go. And that's giving our power away as sovereign human beings. We all have to understand that we already know our thoughts create our realities. And there's so much more truth in that than I think I even recognized. And because all the outer planets are going to fire and air signs, it means that what you're thinking, which is air, and if you're following your passion, which is fire, it's going to come through really, really quickly. But where does that come from? It doesn't come from this passive way of saying, well, if I do this, universe, will you reward me? That means you're still kind of coming from a very religious aspect, whereas I have to behave this way in order to get something. Or in any type of very high controlled situations, if you're putting out there, if I do what you tell me to do, I'll get rewarded for it. And I'm not, by the way, when I talk about any high structured element, religion, or anything, that there is no, you get to choose to believe what you believe. But I would believe that most of the people watching my channel are probably going down more of a spiritualistic path. But spiritualism still has its remnants with everything else that's trying to dictate or trying to feel safe in being who they are by the outside world confirming it with rules that we're supposed to follow. And that's just not what the new paradigm is about, which means that when we're feeling our wobble, it feels really intense when we're feeling that wobble because we've been trained. So don't beat yourself up about this, by the way, either. This isn't a beat up session. This is a new awareness that we're all peeling back. Is so when you discover that you are feeling insecure about something, it's what you do in that moment that will make the biggest impact on your business or your life if it's just a life situation or a relationship or your health. Your emotions are your greatest gift as a human being. It's the thing that we've told ourselves that when you're in an emotional state, you're irrational. And I would agree with that in some aspects. And that's for every species on the planet. When we're having an emotional reaction, when you get really um, jarring news, which goes into your nervous system, it has to have its time with you. And if you don't have to make a decision in that, then you get to play in, okay, that emotion showed me something. What was it telling me? What was it sharing with me? Did it just want to have the experience, or was there more truth to that? Like, and what is my truth in all of that? And then when it comes to understanding that when you hit bumps in the roads in every aspect of your life, it isn't telling you you're bad or you're wrong. It isn't. It's telling you that maybe you just need to take a minute and step away. Maybe you need to go step into something that feels like a hell yes for you or a little bit of passion for you to recalibrate everything going on in your nervous system, in your emotional system, in your mental system. It needs a break in that moment. And we've all been conditioned that you have to work your butt off, that when things aren't going right, it's your fault, that you should always look for outside circumstances to tell you if you're doing a good job, which would mean following other gurus in your field or your belief system that supposedly have made success for themselves, and that's how you're supposed to follow it yourself too. And that is the paradigm we are breaking through, you guys. We are trying to shatter that paradigm now. And it's so uncomfortable because we've all been conditioned to think that something needs to tell us if I'm doing something right or wrong instead of going internally. This is why knowing who you are, the truth of you are, which is the basis of human design and astrology. It is not a self-evaluation. Like there's a lot of companies coming out with psychological evaluations and or self-assessments. And those are all great and they have their place in the world, but they are self-assessment. And if you don't know who you are, you're going to assess how other people have told you you are more than not. Because to get to the truth of who you are, sometimes we have to look at our shadow sides, gene keys too. Like all three of those systems just give you the foundation. It doesn't tell you who you're going to be, but it gives you the foundation of all of it. And then you add in the idea of, okay, so I have a passion to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying that you aren't going to give yourself permission to ask for signs, but you're going to ask for signs in a different way because first and foremost, you have to believe it yourself. And that means many, many times you're going to come into your business or into the relationship and you're going to question things. And when you start to question things, know that you're wobbling. And when you're wobbling, as Abraham says, it means that there's something that you need to fine tune for yourself. There's a belief system there. Maybe there's a nervous system issue. Maybe there is some past conditioning or culture wise. It doesn't matter what it is. That's what you need to step into. That's what you need to get more clarity on. Not playing with the universe of like, please show me that this is the right thing. And when we all start to step more into that, look out because the signs, the outer planets, are all in the fire and air, or will be. Like they're all transitioning between now and 2027, between all that. But please just trust me that it means that what it is that you believe in the moment will become more truth as the day goes on. So let me give an example. Let me get back to the story of the young woman who I was talking to. And she was saying, you know, she was in this bundle of like, okay, nothing's going right. And then another situation rolls in where one of her children was not going to get paid what they had been promised they were going to get paid. See, the whole tie is money and how rapidly it came in for that she had to deal with what money is. By the way, and I know her chart is totally fixated on the second house. She's got a lot of transits going on in there. And so it tells me that she is really here to fixate and understand how she feels about money. Here's a really cool tip that you could utilize if you're struggling in this aspect too, is somebody had suggested you take a $20 bill out, you hold the $20 bill and say, how do you feel about me as in money? And what do you think I feel about you? And you have this complete conversation with money to try to understand your frequency with it. And sometimes holding the actual bills, right? And if you can get larger bills, keep playing with it within that because the dialogue becomes very interesting. You will see what your ego wants to say, and then after a while, eventually, I truly believe that your intuition kind of comes in, and then you realize on some things that you need to work through. So whatever that might be for you, please know to utilize signs would be get clear on what your intention is that day. And then just watch the signs just won't be signs. They will be interacting with you. They will come into your reality. And then probably in a future video, I want to talk about how we are also starting to work through this idea of things are gooder, that's not even a word. Things are good or bad in our emotional sphere. That we've got to work through that too, because that won't function where we're headed consciously. And for those of us that are feeling very vulnerable right now, I send you a lot of love. Like making sure you're getting in your practices, whatever your practices are, that help you feel more safe and secure. I'm excited because I've got some new meditations I think I'm going to be producing that might help in a grander way than what I've ever put out there before, but that's coming. So put in the comments below how you're dealing with it. Have you found this to be truth for yourself? That if you're in a quandary and you're saying, because a lot of us get lost in, well, what's my life purpose? And, you know, it feels like a lot of people are saying, well, I've got to fulfill my life purpose and I've got to do it really perfectly. And if I don't, I know that means I got to pivot and do something else. No, it means that you probably need to work on what your belief system is about it. Because once you work on the belief system, then it will become very clear to you what your passion is, what your next step is. But we can't go from a wobble of like, okay, universe, I'm not really sure what to do, so send me a sign. The universe isn't probably going to send you a sign because it doesn't know what you want. And it's only going to support you in what you want. Does that make sense? All right, you guys. That's it for today. Leave the comments below if this has been. But if you please subscribe, it helps me so much to get this message out there. And of course, if you would like some more focused work on this for yourself, go ahead and take a look at my Clarity Compass program, which is now available. I've got 2 spots available for August of 2025. Many blessings, you guys.